I want to watch Twilight.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You wanna stop by later? Maybe I'll go to fix something tea. You wanna grab something?
Yeah, before we get started, oh my god. I put the soundtrack for Twilight, and now all I can think about is how I want to go watch Twilight now. But that's life. Hold on, just so you have reference, it's the Black Ghost. Oh my god. Okay, this I don't even know. It's because it was in my list of things to do, and I was like, oh, Twilight's gonna be one of them. And I think it had to do with the fact that there was a sudden burst of just more people watching Twilight, but during this time. I don't know what it was. I think it had something to do with like TikTok and them discovering Twilight for like the first time or something. I have no idea. But the point is, I am very happy with the fact that it resurfaced again. But okay, it is, I don't even know. It's because I want to call it problematic content to a degree, but also it was one of my favorite series. Well, actually, I like the first film more than all the other films. I don't know, because like once you start moving on, that's when it starts getting like, I don't know. It needs the same spark as the first film. I'm just built different. I like the blue filter. I like the whole aura of the first film, and the rest don't do it the same way that the first film does it. I don't know. But let me preface that I have not read the books. I was not an OG fan. I was just Twilight film fan, and then I moved on. But then I didn't actually move on because then I still watch it even now. My friend got me the DVD collection, the series. I don't know. The point is, I watch it. Even now, I still do. But anyway, what we're going to talk about is, I'm going to stick mostly to the first film because that one I watched more than the rest, so it kind of is fresh in my head. I haven't watched it recently because the DVD is like unplugged. But keep in mind that that's like the only thing stopping me right now, because otherwise I would be watching it right now in order to like go to sleep. Okay, but anyway, I want to talk about its pros and cons. Pros and cons because it is one of my favorite films, but it's also like not well. Because obviously, I would say spoiler alert, but this film is so freaking old. There's like no way that you haven't at least heard of the film. So I'm just gonna progress, but spoiler alert if you have not seen it. If you haven't, you should go see it. It's fun. Even if you don't like it, it's fun in the sense that it's like bad fun. I don't know. You're gonna have a good time, at least for the first film. But anyway, one of the things I would criticize though is that there's a tremendous amount of stalking, and like it's so strangely normalized. I don't know how to describe this properly. It's because there's a scene where Bella's gonna get like jumped by a bunch of guys, and he pulls up in his egg car. I know it's not an egg car, but it's shaped like an egg car, so ever since I've been calling it an egg car, it's funny. Anyway, he pulls up in his little egg car and he threatens him, and he's like trying to square them up, right? But keep in mind, Bella never told him where she was. As a matter of fact, they're barely on speaking terms. Like or were they along at that point? I think they were a little like this now. They were getting there, but they weren't there yet. Like it was like when you're barely making a friendship and you're still kind of like, hey, good night, and like, oh, barely talking, but not quite there yet. Like, you're almost there, but not there yet. Anyway, that's how I remember it. Anyways, he pulls up, he scares him. He's like, oh, get away, you're a creep, you're a weirdo, because everything you tell him weird stuff, right? Because he's also a mind reader, keep in mind. And he's like, I have come in to rescue you. Later on, she's like, how'd you even know where I was? And why were you following me? This is weird. But she finds it, I'm assuming, endearing, because it doesn't throw her off immediately. Because at this point, she doesn't know he's a vampire, right? Or does she? Well, she has her suspicions, but she hasn't confirmed yet. Like, all of that hasn't come into place yet. She's just suspicions. It's the red string theory for now. And she's like, bro, what? Why'd you show up? Why? I mean, thanks, I guess, but like, also, where'd you come from? And then, yeah, right? And then he's like, oh, I'm a mind reader, etc. And all of this. I'm just doing this. I'm watching out for you. XOXO. Why were you following since the beginning? But that's not the first time. Because this dude also goes into her bedroom and stands there, just all... And he later on admits it. I think it's in the same film too. He's like, oh yeah, I like watching you sleep. And she is not even the slightest bit perturbed. She's like, oh, that's awesome. You listen to Claire de Lune? And imagine some weird, like, some guy you just met from school, okay? Because realize that they're aged up, at least in this film. Like, they're supposed to be portraying high schoolers. But imagine some dude, some like kid, he just pulls up to your bedroom in the middle of the night just to stare at you sleeping, and he's not some grown man. That would make it even worse if he was a grown man. So like, yeah. But anyway, they're just standing there in the corner of your bedroom, just watching you in the dark. Like, yeah, I like watching you sleep. At that point, I think most people would file a restraining order. He's also very on and off. Because if you watch it, you notice that he's like, get away from me, I can hurt you. And then later on, he's like, okay, yeah, I guess we can be friends because I like really want to be friends with you. But also, never mind because I can hurt you. And then he only becomes friends later on, I think, because Bella accepts, but she's more pushing than he is. Like, okay, bro, pull it together. Like, if they're that indecisive, I think in real life I would have just, no, dude, okay, I'm just not gonna get involved. Thanks. That seems so, like, such a headache. It's too much work. But also keep in mind, I'm not sure how many people would actually like accept to be friends with a vampire. Because, okay, as much as you like vampires, I like vampires. I feel like I would have accepted one of those. Like, how many people in their right mind would be like, okay, yeah, we can be friends, even though at any point you could basically devour me. How many? Like, and then he's kind of like threatening. He's like, like, I want to eat you so bad, bro. Like, you look like a 5-course meal. Let me just trap you against the wall. Like, after all of that, I'm pretty sure most people would have been like, nah, he's a weird role player with the Twilight sparkle effect. I don't know. Like, I probably would have, but also, like, you're a little too much for me, dog. Like, it was the red flags for me first, before it was the vampire thing. Like, nah. Good, thank you so much. But there's also pros. I'm pretty sure it was more red flags, but like also, yeah. In terms of like the good aspects, though there is some, it's just that I was deciding between like covering the film as its entirety or just talking about Eduardo Twilight Sparkle. Because like a lot of the soundtrack is also good because right now when I started it, the first thing I recognize is the first song, and that's when they're like driving. I was gonna say Arizona, but I think she's she's from Arizona. It's Arizona Phoenix. Am I crazy? I might be crazy. The point is, from there to Forks, and that song, which is carry her little cactus, bro. That it's memorable. It's good. And what's his name? Despite him being Twilight Sparkle, he also has some good aspects. Like, oh, he can run fast. He can pick you up. So if you're ever being lazy, this turned into an Eduardo X reader. It's not that. I swear. But think about it. Just consider it. Like back to the cons list. If you read your mind, that's kind of dumb. But we're gonna be under the assumption that we are currently Bella. Like, I mean, yeah, it could have its pros and cons. Cause like, what if you think about something super gross? You're like, oh, I stepped on a cockroach with my bare foot. Like, imagine that, and you're like, oh, I didn't wipe my foot, and I still have the cockroach. It's like, yeah, I mean, I can see why they. Yeah, but then again, at that point, I don't think Eduardo would be the problem at that point. I think it would be you. But in terms of more pros, I think, I mean, it's a good film. Like, it's fun. And also, just a vampire dog. Like, literally just a vampire. It's fun. I like vampires. I already said that I would have been like, yeah, I probably would have been your friend if you didn't have all those red flags ahead of the vampire thing. Like, I probably could have befriended Alice. She was one of my parents, by the way. She was. Anyway, I just remembered Jasper. Never mind. Because I don't know. I don't know if, like, when you have your baby's gonna be CGI up until they can have an actual kid on set. You're just gonna have to run the risk of having a CGI baby or an actual baby. Another thing is though, the wolves. I'm not a werewolf fan. I think my friend is, and we had a debate about this, but I hate the dogs, bro. Like, I think it might just be because I'm a cat person, but like then again, I can appreciate dogs every here and then. But nah, I just can't. I can't. I'm trying to get Team Jacob. Like, I'm trying to, but I just can't. Because, no, dog. And he's so possessive, too. And he's like, it's either me or him, but it was never even about you. You just kind of put yourself in there. And it's also Bella, because, like, she's like, oh, I can't decide. Like, bro, it's one or the other. Is it red flag number 1 or red flag 2? But then again, he didn't treat her like absolute yes and no, and like, yeah, I can see why maybe ish now. But I still want to go with the dog. I'm sorry, dog. Or maybe I would. I don't know. Based on personality and stuff, and how many red flags I see compared, and also if those were like the only 2 people. Because I personally would have either picked Alice or Carlisle. I'm just saying, he's a doctor, he's free, and also, I mean, he has a wife. But we can make it work. We will find a way. Trust. I have problems, bro. I literally can't think of a lot of pros, but like overall, it's a fun film. Like, you would enjoy it, especially if you like vampires. Well, that depends, because like if you're the type of vampire fan who likes Nosferatu, but not more of the Twilight Sparkle Eduardo, then yeah, I could probably see why not. But either way, it's fun. Like, I can appreciate a Nosferatu and also a Dracula and Eduardo Twilight Sparkle. So just give it a shot. I know I didn't list a lot of pros, but trust me, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. You're gonna get an experience. You might even see CGI, baby, if you make it that far in the series. I want to say more, but I'm gonna be here all day, and I already passed the limit. But anyway, yeah, that's where I'm leaving it. Because then I'm gonna keep going, and there's some films I haven't even covered yet, and some issues. Okay, wait. Before I go, the scene where she throws herself off a cliff and into the water, she did not perish. YouTube, she did not perish. Viewers, she did not perish. Anyway, she was about to though, right? Because she fell from like a high point into the water, and she bonked her head because Miss Girl was being emo basically. Because what's his name, Eduardo? He left. Like he's like, oh girl, like I could hurt you. I could be that guy. Like yeah, right. Anyway, she did that. She bunked her head because what's her name? Red hair girl. I literally forgot her name. I'm just gonna call her Destiny for now, but I don't know if that's her name. Anyway, Destiny was like, "Oh, I'm gonna K-word you because you K-worded my man." I was gonna say yeah. Anyway, and that's a whole other story part of why they. I'll say it really fast. Okay, they K-worded her man because her man was a vampire also, and he was trying to eat Bella, like not the same way Eduardo is, but different way. I don't know. He had a whole scheme to like devour her and everything. Yeah. Point is, they K-worded her man's, and she's now coming after Bella, and yeah. Anyway, she found her in the water. She spooked her a little bit. She made her bonk her head. Anyway, the wet dog, Jacob, he comes and gets her out of the water. Was it him or Sam? Doesn't matter. She got pulled out of the water. And I found that scene so dramatic when I was younger. I was like, oh my god, this is true suffering and etc. And that was peak comedy. I mean, not comedy, drama, but it also was funny. Like, if you think about it, because like she literally just like in the water, right? She's like this, and then she bonked her head. Like, there wasn't even a wave, and you hit your head. But anyway, I found it so dramatic. I was like, oh my god, imagine that, like, I bonked my head when I fall in the water, and then I saw my version of the Twilight Sparkle. Like, he was my number one, right next to, I don't think I liked Carlisle. No, I did. I had taste even then. But I'll leave it there before I keep going. There's like more. There's more. But I already passed the time. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed, and that has been all. I want to talk more about the series, but I need to rewatch it because I should have rewatched it before I started the video. But also, the DVD's unplugged. Like, that's life. But anyway, also because I would be here all day, and I literally already passed the time. So when I edit, yeah. But that has been all. I hope you have enjoyed. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Comment who was your favorite. Mine was Carlisle, Eduardo Sparkle, and Alice. Jasper was a maybe. But I can now like Emmett because I can appreciate Emmett as he is. I don't know why I did it before. But even now, I still hate Rosalie. I'm sorry. Me and Rosalie have beef. But anyway, bye-bye.